So you can only be goth if you only wear black clothing, right? Hello spooky bats and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Orphea and I'm a goth girl from Belgium. In today's video I want to talk about the 5 most common myths about the goth scene, talk about each one of them a little bit more individually and why they are true or totally not. I am aware that there are more myths about the goth scene or misconceptions than I am addressing in this video, so I might be making future episodes to this if you enjoy it. But now, without further ado, let's get started. Goth myth number 1. Goths are always miserable or depressed. This is absolutely not true. I think the appearance of goths can sometimes give this impression to people, and hence why this is the most made misconception or most common myth about goths, is because we often have this sad, more depressed, or at least in my opinion we have a neutral look. Now I also feel that the pictures that we take and post online often don't help with this. We often take neutral expression pictures which people interpret as sad or depressed pictures because of the setting, because of the makeup we wear, the clothes we are wearing, etc. But the thing is that goths can also be very happy people, and that's one of the things that I see most around me, is that most people around me, at least in the goth scene, are super happy people, especially when we meet each other or when we are at events, if we can go to events, and hopefully they're starting again soon. But I think that this misconception comes from the appearance of goths and not from actually talking to goths, because most people who actually start talking to me are always surprised at how positive I am, how optimistic my outlook on life is, etc. because I have this very realistic look on life. And I feel that this misconception has been following the goth scene for a very long time, but I feel personally that the appearance of goth can give this myth kind of its footing, but I also feel that normal people, so people who are not in the goth scene, can also be miserable, depressed and sad. They just don't always show it as much. And that's something that I feel with the goth scene is actually way more incorporated, is that we have the freedom to express ourselves the way that we want, whether it be through fashion, through makeup, through music as well. So you will often see a lot more of the depressed or sad side of goths than you will of normal people, because normal people will try to keep up an appearance, a happy appearance for the outside world. So I feel that this myth is really not true. I feel, in my personal opinion, that goths, of course, sometimes we can be sad and depressed and miserable. But most of the time, and now I'm just speaking for me, for myself, I'm a very optimistic and happy person, especially if I can do my passion, go to festivals, go to concerts, dance around, party around, DJ, make music, listen to music. That's when I am at my happiest. So most of the time when I will encounter other people at events, etc., I will not be sad or depressed at all. And if you are still unsure if this myth is true or not, I would highly recommend looking at the footage of the Wave Gothic Treffen, of Amphi Festival, of Mera Luna, where you see all of these goths gathered together, just being super happy to see each other, super happy to see the bands that they enjoy, to participate in activities. So that's like the best example for me that goths are very happy people. You just need to see them in the right environment, as you would with any other person. Myth number 2. Goths worship the devil. No. Absolutely not. And I kind of know where this myth comes from, and I think it's also related to the metal scene, because people see us doing this often at concerts and at festivals. But this does not mean that we worship the devil. This is actually, in most common sense, actually a sign to prevent the devil from having a negative effect on you. So doing this at a concert towards the band just means that you're enjoying the band and not that you worship them or worship the devil or anything. So I think this sign actually is big misconception in the metal scene already. However, in the goth scene, I kind of know why people might think this. If you look at goth fashion, and especially if we look at, for example, Killstar, then you will see that a lot of the clothing has specific imagery to it, which can come across as devil worshipping, because there are devils on it. Things with horns, things with signs that people can misinterpret. And it's also because a lot of people wear these things without knowing where it comes from. And this is the thing with goth. Some goths wear things solely for the aesthetic. but that is what people see. And some others will actually look at the meaning of things. If you have a pentacle on your clothing, such as I have on some of my pieces of clothing, for me it means nothing. It's just a pretty aesthetic. But for other people, having it pointed upwards can be a symbol of really positivity, of the Wiccan movement, or having it pointed downwards can be a sign of dark magic, etc. However, a lot of people just see these symbols, don't know what they stand for, and just assume that we are Satanists, which is really not true. I personally don't think that a specific religion is tied to the God scene. I personally am not religious in any way, shape, or form. However, I do have a few religious symbols in my wardrobe. I have some very pretty necklaces and earrings with crosses. However, that does not mean that I'm Catholic at all. It just means that I like the aesthetic of crosses. And that's something that I feel a lot of people have to keep in mind, is that for a lot of us, it's just the aesthetics of certain pieces and not the symbolism that might be behind it. So people really just need to stop overthinking what we are wearing and just see it as a gorgeous black outfit. And this leads into myth number 3. Goths only wear black clothing. Now I have to say, for me personally, this myth does apply very strongly, because 99.9% of my wardrobe are black clothes. I have a few red pieces in there as well, but that's it. And I think that most Goths actually wear black most of the time. However, wearing black is not something that you have to do to be Goth. And also, it's not a requirement. You don't always have to wear black. It's not something that you need to do to be part of the Goth scene. And just like me, I know that other people who are in the Goth scene also wear color. Some people don't even wear black and they are still part of the Goth scene. What you wear doesn't matter. What you wear doesn't define if you're Goth or not. So you can wear a full white outfit and still say that you are Goth. If you relate to the Goth subculture, if you feel that you are part of it, what you wear should not matter at all. So yes, wearing black is a common scene myth, and I do understand where it comes from, and yes, it is partially true. Myth number 4, Goths only come outside after dark. This is so untrue, and I actually don't know where this myth comes from. Like, how did someone even come up with this? Goths are just people like you and me who have regular jobs, who need to go to the shops, who need to buy groceries, etc. We come outside all the time. Although I can kind of know where this misconception comes from. Vampires are not able to go outside after dark, and I know that some people have some difficulty seeing the difference between vampires and Goths, because it does look alike. But vampires are a fictional character, or something that doesn't actually exist. It's just made up, it's fantasy. But Goths, however, we are just people. So I know that some people in the Goth scene want to give off the appearance of being a vampire. However, we are allowed to go outside just as anyone else, and we do go outside just as anyone else. Once I'm done recording these videos, I'm actually going outside to the shops to pick up some groceries, to ship off some secondhand clothing that I've sold online. So Goths actually do go outside before dark as well. Although I have to say that if the sun is out, most Goths, I say most Goths, not everyone, will avoid the sun. For me, it's because I don't like the look of tanned skin. And I also don't want to damage any of my tattoos. It's not something that I only do because I'm part of the Goth scene, it's something that I've always done. But you also have Goths that really enjoy having a tanned look. There are of course also Goths of color, of different skin tones than mine. And that's completely normal, and everyone leads their lives the way they want to. So whether you see Goths outside in the regular world, the thing is, most of the time you might not even be able to recognize them. Because most of the time I don't look like this. I look like this. This is me on a regular day when I go to work, when I go to the office. So sometimes you're not even able to tell if someone is Goth or not. If you encounter them in just a regular setting. However, when we go to parties or to festivals, which most often happen after dark, then of course we look a specific way. So I do get why this misconception exists, I just think it's very funny. And then finally, myth number 5, Goths grow out of it. And this is actually so rude. Whenever someone told me earlier, oh, you're part of the Goth scene now, well, you grow out of it. I felt that was so mean. It's like saying to someone, hey, you are now listening to techno music, you will grow out of it. Oh, you're playing the guitar, you'll grow out of it. Oh, you're dyeing your hair pink, you'll grow out of it. It's not up to people to decide whether you will or will not grow out of something. We are all people evolving constantly in life, and that's so important. I am constantly experiencing new things. There's constantly new music coming out. Now, I think this myth actually comes from people in high school who temporarily adopt a style to rebel against their parents, and then afterwards, once they're done rebelling, just grow out of it. However, for most people who are in the goth scene for the right reasons, which is most importantly the music, and then second the fashion and the way you look, those people will always stay in the goth scene. If I go to festivals and events, you have people from every age range. You will have teens or even kids coming to goth festivals with their parents, and you will have even people up to age 90 that I have seen at events who still enjoy the music, who still dress the way that they want to dress. Okay, those people might not wear as much makeup, might not wear a corset and high heels or platforms, but they are still part of the goth scene. So I feel this last one actually hits a sensitive note with me, because for me, I could not imagine myself growing out of the goth scene. It's something that I enjoy so much, that has become such a big part of my life, that if I would grow out of goth, I would kind of lose part of my identity as who I am, because it is something that to me brings so much joy and brings so much value to my life. The music, most importantly, the literature, the art, the way that I'm able to express myself through makeup and through fashion. For me, it's so important that I won't ever grow out of it. I really hope that you enjoyed me talking about these 5 most common myths about the goth scene. If you want to share your own opinion on these 5 myths, feel free to do so in the comment section down below. Also, feel free to let me know if you want to see me make future episodes of this series, because I personally think it's very interesting to see where these myths come from and also how I can talk about them and kind of explain them so that everyone can understand why they exist, but also why they could be true or could not be true. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and of course don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as I make weekly videos and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Before we end this video, I want to thank my patrons, and more specifically my high tier patrons, Anders, Jerry and Jen. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, it means the world to me. And of course, thank you to each and every one of you who watches my videos, and I will see you next week with a new one. Bye!